Um, my name is Alan Srivatsa. I think Uli introduced me a little bit earlier. First of all, thank you guys for coming here today. I definitely am very happy to be able to get the chance to talk to you. So let me briefly talk about what we're going to discuss in the next 15-20 minutes or so. As Tim mentioned, Intel is going through a major change in how we look at product development. We're starting to look and drive our technology roadmaps based on the experiences that we deliver. But clearly in each of the segments that we've got, we're going to continue to go and deliver the traditional architecture we've been delivering for desktop, in my case, and mobile, which is what Karen is going to go talk about. So the first thing I wanted to actually talk about today was to basically tie that back. Right? You've heard maybe in the keynote that you visited us on a couple of days ago, us talking a lot about perceptual computing. And this is one of the key capabilities that we're going to continue to enable that will deliver a brand new set of usage experiences that Tim was talking about earlier. One key example, we talk about the senses that human beings today naturally have. Right? We have the ability to hear, to see, to speak, to touch. And some of these things exist in our technology today, and they've really been groundbreaking in terms of what they deliver to the end user. Touch, for example, is what we are commonly able to interface with our tablets and smartphones on. They're increasingly showing up on computing devices, but fundamentally it changes how you interact with these devices. A couple of the things that you may have seen in the keynote is, we're enabling facial recognition so that you don't need to remember passwords anymore, right? That capability requires a computer to essentially be able to see and recognize you, right? The one major impact of all of these capabilities that we're delivering is that there is a requirement for performance to go and power these things, right? So when you go and look at the ability to deliver facial recognition solution, the ability to do speech recognition locally on a machine, you need performance underneath to go and power these things. The end user in most cases does not know and does not care, but from a technology perspective, we need to deliver the underlying engines that can drive these capabilities. And so that's something that I want to make sure you guys think about, right? We're going to continue to deliver user experiences, but in order to go and provide enough horsepower to deliver those in a seamless manner, you need performance to be built underneath it. One good example that I'd like to go ahead and highlight is, the end state of all of these natural user interface interactions would be to be able to deal with your computer as if it was another person. But think about what it takes for a person to actually be able to interact with somebody else, right? A child is born with 100 billion neurons. And it takes them about 4 years, you can take my kids, it takes them 4 years to properly interact with you. And they see you constantly. They're learning for 4 years how to deal with the expressions we're delivering to them, how to respond when being talked to, right? How to be able to see the gestures we're making and understand what those mean. What we will expect with computers is we're going to want to turn it on, and we're going to want it to understand right away. Understand us right away across the world. In order to go do that effectively, we have to be able to deliver enough performance that that machine can learn much faster than what human beings learn. So that's a little bit about perceptual. So let's talk a little bit about our product, right? We're going to be introducing our 4th generation Intel Core products later this year, and there are 4 major vectors in this product line that I'd like to talk to you about, right? We talked about the importance of performance relative to delivering new user experiences. A couple of additional details that we want to go highlight today are we expect the performance of 4th generation Intel Core platforms to deliver all-day battery life while providing increased CPU performance. This is a critical value add for our mobile devices that people expect high levels of portability, and all-day battery life is a critical component of that. On the desktop side, which is my business line, we're also going to be offering more overclocking features in the 4th generation Core to allow for more flexible overclocking. We're also going to be able to enable low-power CPUs. Again, performance from Intel has 2 vectors. One is you can get lots of performance within the same power envelopes, but the other opportunity is to take performance and offer maybe equal performance in a lower power envelope. And as we try to drive thinner form factors, and you're seeing a bunch of them on the table here today, the ability to drive lower power CPUs really enables us to get our customers to deliver a much, much thinner, nicer product to the end customers. The other major vector here that I want to highlight is visuals. Intel's taken a very dramatic stand to go and increase our integrated graphics performance. And in our 4th generation Intel Core platform, you should expect a 2x improvement in integrated graphics performance versus our last generation. Another major feature that we would like to talk about with our 4th generation core is our I/O capabilities. And a technology that Intel has promoted and developed is Thunderbolt Technology. This is something that allows us to connect these thin, small devices with peripherals that will basically showcase them in other forms, right? So you've basically got, let's say, a tablet, or you've got a small notebook that is highly portable. There's a need to connect these to storage or docking solutions or monitors. The Thunderbolt technology allows us to get 10 gigs down the wire with data and video. This enables a certain set of use cases for our customers that we think are very compelling, like the ability to take media very quickly from a large hard drive that you're sitting in your desk to something that you want to carry around with you. We expect lots of new design wins in this category. Clearly, the Apple products today ship with Thunderbolt in large volumes. We expect to see increased volumes on the Windows side. We already have 20 design wins. We're going to expect more launching with our 4th generation Intel product line, both on the mobile products as well as the desktop one. So this is a key technology that you guys need to consider looking at. Right? We are seeing traction in the marketplace. I now want to talk about desktop specifically and what our strategy is on this side. First thing, we are highly invested in the desktop industry, right? This is a platform that our end customers value. We have a large ecosystem of partners, both large OEM customers like Dell, HP, Lenovo, but also a large channel and sells desktops to all kinds of users. We have 3 platforms that we create specifically for desktop. We've got an entry-level platform that's on a BGA, our Atom-based products that go into entry desktops around the world. We have our mainstream platform that's highly scalable, and we have our extreme high-end desktop platform that's also marketed for enthusiast desktops. Essentially, the key takeaway for us from this slide is, we have a significant investment in desktops, highly scalable with lots of TDP levels. We have 4 brands in the space. We have 3 sockets, multiple price points. It is a business that is very compelling for us, and it is a business that our customers value and end customers value. Our research indicates that people who use desktops today, 88% of homes in the U.S. have a desktop. 80% of them use it every day. And what they say about their desktop is that it's a place they expect to get performance. It's a place that's secure. There's no danger of dropping the desktop. There's no danger of losing the desktop. There's also some comfort associated with having a workspace that you know and are familiar with. These are value propositions we think will continue to exist, and we're going to continue to invest to deliver solutions into this space. One key idea that I'd like to make sure you guys leave with, though, is not only is the desktop segment a big segment for Intel, but it's a segment that's also generating a bunch of innovation. And a lot of this is driven by our desire to go and promote new classes of desktops. This is happening organically in the business, where people want to buy different things. But we're promoting these 4 segments that have actually been key vectors of growth for us. Right? So on the left side, you've got your all-in-one lifestyle PC. We have an example of one over here. Right? These are what mainstream buyers today want to buy because they want a clutter-free, very nice industrial design PC. These things tend to be larger screen sizes. The median screen size for a desktop today is about 23 inches or so. And so, they want stunning visuals. These things are large, beautiful screens that people can get immersed in their content on. Right? It's a good place to go watch media. It's a good place to do casual gaming. One of the new things that we've got in this category is lay-flat usages, and we're going to show that off with this device. But imagine the ability to go and take a PC that traditionally we sit and face vertically and be able to lay it flat. It enables us to do some new things and to think about some new usage experiences you can deliver in that lay-flat kind of capability. The other couple of things I want to talk about specifically for this market here in Europe and in markets like PRC is the enthusiast market. Right? The enthusiast segment for desktop is a very interesting segment because these people tend to be extremely technologically savvy. They understand what they're buying and what they're buying for. We segment that into 3 categories. We've got the enthusiast gamers, right? And if you went to Hall 23 while you were at CeBIT, you saw the Intel Extreme Masters gaming gaming rigs out there. You know, these people know what they're buying, they value the technology they're buying. We see them continuing to buy desktops because of the performance that those things deliver and the ability to scale those solutions for the experience they're trying to get, right? They add discrete graphics cards in some cases. We definitely see that market continuing to grow in sheer numbers, where we have increased volume in the segment. But enthusiasts are not just gamers, right? We also have the content creators, people who are creating web pages or animation or other things that today, you know, are increasingly being done at home. And those kinds of individuals also have a strong desire for technology. They understand what they need to do with their machines, and they're buying very high-end desktop systems to be able to go and deliver to their end customers. The other two areas, again, that for us are very exciting growth areas are business, right? Intel has a platform brand called vPro. It's well established in the marketplace. We've got about 100 million units of installed base right now. In addition, we've gone and started a new category called Small Business Advantage. And again, you know, the distinction is vPro is something that we sell to large enterprises where there is a IT person that manages infrastructure. Whereas in a small business, you generally have a small business owner. They're not necessarily technology savvy. But in both cases, you know, technology is an enabler for people to meet their business results. And so the two vectors that we really focus on both sides is the ability to deliver more security so that people can get their work done without the danger of getting hacked, without the danger of losing data, without the danger of losing their confidential information out of their organization. The solutions are slightly different. The intent is very similar. And then the other one that we've got is streamlined management, right? Especially in enterprise where you've got large numbers of clients that need to be managed, it's a problem. On the small business side, you know, it's equally a problem even though you only have a small set of PCs because the small business owner is usually not a very technical person. They're forced to be both, you know, a doctor and an IT professional. It's very hard, right? And so what they really want is they want to make sure, you know, their patches are up to date. They want to make sure their machines are operating as they need to so that they can do the billing, they can maintain their customer information, but they really want to be a doctor, right? That's what they want to be. And so we deliver solutions into this space as well, and both of these areas are growing extremely fast. The last one I wanted to highlight real quickly is the entry desktop space. One of the other markets, again, that continues to grow for us is emerging markets, right? This is places in the world where, you know, people are buying a PC for the first time. And what we see as dynamics in this space is, you know, you're not buying necessarily a personal device. You're buying something that is shared for the family. In places like India or, you know, Eastern Asia, you have people who buy their first PC because they want to give it to their children for a better education. And those kind of devices tend to be shared. Again, some of the values of a desktop are highly valued in this space because of, you know, the reliability, the perception that this thing won't fail as much. You know, we see strong growth in that space, and we continue to think that this, you know, differentiated strategy where we force segments that the traditional tower is going to go bifurcate into is something that delivers growth for us, right? And again, back to our statement of the amount of investment that we need, each of these segments potentially needs a new solution, right? You know, all-in-ones need something that is power conscious because you want to be able to deliver a very nice, you know, ID. Enthusiasts want lots of performance, right? The ID is not as important. You know, our entry desktops tend to be much smaller in form factor. You know, they're BGA most of the time, but they're worried about cost and system size. And then again, business is driving some unique software solutions that are really driven on top of hardware for security. I want to talk about one thing specifically in this segment beyond the high level, which is about all-in-ones. Right? This is a new growth area for Intel. We've got two traditional or two form factors I'd like to talk about. One is the traditional all-in-one, and this is something that's been in the market for 3 or 4 years now. You know, if you look on the left side, we're showing an Asus all-in-one in the picture. But basically, this is a ID-driven design. You know, it showcases large and vivid displays. You know, these things wake in a flash. We've got SSDs in them in a lot of cases, right? The expectation is these will also be always connected. You know, they'll be able to connect quickly to your content on the internet through various Intel technologies like Smart Connect, etc. But you know, the use case for this device is fairly similar to your traditional desktop, right? It is much nicer looking than a desktop. but most people put it on a desk, it gets plugged into power, stays where it is, and again, it delivers a better user experience than desktop because it's clutter-free, but again, the interaction with the computer is very similar to what it's traditionally been. A new category that Intel's been talking about since September 2012 is the adaptive all-in-one. And this is a new form factor that Intel has been promoting. And it basically builds off of the all-in-one designs that, again, showcase very nice industrial designs. But the new things that we're showcasing in this form factor are the ability to lay these devices flat. And again, looking at something flat enables a very different use case than you would imagine with something that's vertical. We also have added a battery to these all-in-ones. And so now all of a sudden you've got light portability. Again, the intent isn't for this thing to be, an all-day battery life kind of usage. It's more light portability within your home. And so again, you get the values of a desktop, but you get the values of some limited portability. And this again is something that user research brought back to us, right? So we see these things that in a lot of other countries in the world, people tend to move their devices, right? Even if it's for something as simple as they've got one room where the air conditioner sits, and in the summertime, it's more comfortable to use your computer in the room where the air conditioner's on, right? These are things that in the United States you wouldn't consider to be so common, that people are moving their desktops multiple times a year. Usually in the US, you set it up in your study, and it doesn't move until you change devices, right? The other key value proposition for this segment is multi-user capability, right? And this is actually one of the game-changing usage experiences that we can go deliver with this type of device that we really want to talk about. I'll skip this one. Multi-user. Why is this important, right? We all have lots of screens today, right? When you look at my kids, we've got tablets, we've got phones, but all of them tend to bring the user in connection with one device and stops the interaction between people. One of the key value propositions of multi-user, multi-touch is now you can have multiple people interacting around the same machine. And so the highlight at CES that was showcased over here was basically this ability to go and play board games, together on one device. We call this bringing. And what we see is lots of people who see technology as a tool also see it as a nuisance, right? They sometimes look at people basically stopping interaction, especially in the home, with each other, instead preferring to go and watch their iPad, watch their phone. Now you've got a piece of technology that can encourage people to interact with each other with a device. The Lenovo Horizon is a great example of this technology. It was showcased at CES. It won Best of Show for CES for the PC category. And it's basically a device that is a 27-inch lay-flat adaptive all-in-one that showcased monopoly for us in that form factor. We don't have the Horizon here today, but we do have the Sony Tab. I did want to come and show you guys what we can do with this device, and that's sort of the last thing that we've got in our section. But Carl, if you could talk a little bit about what the Sony Tab does.
I don't have a mic, so I'm just trying to speak a little bit louder. What we can do with all-in-ones, what we've seen is people are pulling their towers if it's stationary in an office, now putting all-in-ones in different locations, such as the kitchen area. So imagine sitting in the kitchen, wireless keyboard, wireless mouse, very attractive. Or maybe get up in the morning, having some breakfast, having some coffee. You might want to check the news, kind of browse through the news stories, maybe check the stocks. Maybe you need to check your email, send a few emails. You need to look at the weather. You want to see if it's going to rain today. By the way, 2 p.m. the rain starts here in Hanover, looks like. So you can do email. You can even look at maps. You can kind of get some directions where you need to go, what you need to do. And the thing about this is that, as he was talking about, Anna was talking about, this is actually an adaptive all-in-one. And so if you're playing some sort of games, like, for example, this air hockey, so we can actually play this game, but
this is a two-player game.
Right, so this is a two-player game, so multi-user, multi-touch. And you can actually, there's games here you play 4 players, and have 4 different sides and different kinds of games. So the thing is, what he was talking about is you can actually lay this flat. It would be nicer if it were flat. Play this game sitting on a table, which makes more sense for this type of game. But since this is an adaptive all-in-one, you don't even need the power cord. So you can take this and set it down at a coffee table somewhere and play this game sitting around people, and you can move it around to different locations. So it's very, very flexible. And the customers, people are very excited about this. So,
or is it like exactly all the part of the computer inside the?
That's not the one all-in-one. There is no tower, so it's all on the screen.
All behind the screen. So, again, I think the key takeaway for us here is, we've got a significant investment in desktops from Intel, and we're seeing lots of innovation. So we've got these kind of form factors. You'll continue to see more through the rest of the year. But again, I wanted to make sure that Karen had some time to talk about ultrabook. Karen? If you guys have any questions, again, you can hit us after the meeting.
All right, we're almost done, guys. I think that the other speakers have already touched on this pretty extensively. We know that people don't buy devices, technology, processors. They really want to buy experiences. And that's always been the vision behind the ultrabook. You've seen versions of this slide since we first rolled out the idea of ultrabook at Computex June 2011. We have this longer-term vision that ultrabook eventually becomes a PC when you need it, a tablet when you want it, all day, every day. The first year was all about category creation, introduction. The second year, what we saw with our third generation of core processors in these ultrabooks was an expansion of OEMs who were playing in this space, the number of units that were available, the choice for the end user, and also with the advent of Windows 8, we saw a lot more touch designs coming to the marketplace. 2013, however, has always been a year where it became the first opportunity for us to open up our silicon design and really make some tweaks to our processor that will help the ultrabook category specifically. Now, a funny thing happened along the way as we started to ramp the ultrabook. What we saw is that the overall market got changed along with ultrabook. We had innovation going way beyond the category itself, which is good for the overall PC industry. The first iteration of ultrabooks were all about ultra-thin and ultra-responsive. About a year and a half ago, October of 2011, if you look at North American retail data, less than 1% of the notebooks in the market, in retail, were at 25 millimeters or less. Today, we're at about 20x that number. We've seen everything has gotten thinner, and it's been in part due to the fact that our teams have been out working with ecosystem partners, enabling a broader range of choices and lower cost on things like thin displays, thin keyboards, battery technologies, everything else. The rest of the industry can take advantage of those efficiencies that we've brought to bear with ultrabook. The other proof point that we have is the middle chart showing our 17-watt processor ramp. Now you guys know that we've had these processors in market since I think 1999 or 2000. Our first ULB part was introduced. And it's been a good business for Intel. You can see the little bump in 2009 when we introduced what you guys called the CULB, bringing those ultra-low power processors into our consumer transactional roadmap. And then it just kind of bumped along until we introduced ultrabook, and we saw this huge spike in our mix. The interesting thing, though, is only about half of that volume represented under that curve is going into ultrabooks. So other non-ultrabooks, or photrabooks, are taking advantage of the silicon. We call this the knock-on effect or the bow wave effect. But the opportunity here is to use ultrabook to drive transitions in the market. In September of last year at our Intel Developer Forum, we showed a version of this slide that said that as we had announced previously, we were going to bring our mainstream processor for ultrabook down to a 15-watt TDP, optimize our performance at that power envelope. And that was good, but we decided it wasn't going far enough. So we said that we would have a new line of processors in the Haswell family that would go to about a 10-watt power level. At CES, we announced that we will have processors starting with Ivy Bridge. So even before we get to Haswell, on our 3rd generation Intel Core processors, we'll have this line of processors that go down as low as a 7 watt. Now that's a scenario design power. That's not a TDP. But what this allows us to do is to get into really innovative, thin form factors. And I wanted to just show you very quickly a couple of examples of some of the first systems that will take advantage of this new silicon. One is the Acer Tablet. I believe this is in their Iconia line. They have a product out now that's core-based, as well as atom-based. What this new core processor allows them to do is get even thinner and with longer battery life. The other example that we love to talk about is the Lenovo Yoga. I have the Yoga 13 now. But in June timeframe, Lenovo has announced their intention to launch the 3rd gen core based Yoga 11S that comes in really pretty colors too. So we're really excited about this, and this is all happening even before we get to Haswell. One other thing that I wanted to talk about before we do get into Haswell is touch. Again, Tim talked a little bit about all the research that we do trying to understand user needs. We talk to end users, let them play with the touch-enabled laptops, and we saw that when given a choice of different I/O methods, they went to touch a large percentage of the time. Now, to be fair, in this study, we only gave them the technology for about an hour, and we know that there was a novelty factor involved that was, leading them to touch the screen more frequently. But still, we see touch as being very popular with end users. They like to have the option to use touch. The Intel has done a lot of enabling work to make sure that we have adequate capacity to what we believe the ramp will be for touch this year. So we've worked with a number of vendors, multiple vendors, to make sure that we have availability in those larger screen sizes. We've also worked really closely with the OEMs who, frankly, I don't think anyone was really a believer in touch in notebooks early on. They were, okay, maybe we'll do a design, and then they saw Windows 8 getting closer and closer. And you can see that the number of design wins that they had planned at the beginning of the year slowly ramped, and we see that going even harder shift up with the 4th generation Intel Core-based ultrabooks. The other thing that we expect to see a lot more of are these convertible systems. You see the first ones are in market now. We expect to see a lot more with Haswell, both due to the lower power that we're going to offer, allowing that design innovation, but also because people are seeing one value proposition that these systems can offer is really compelling to the end users. It gives opportunity through the whole ecosystem and for the end user as well. Now, we do look at convertibles as this space as being kind of a convergence of the consumption and the creation usage models. But if you think about it, the systems that actually convert sort of have a PC first kind of mentality. They've got to be a great PC that have tablet-like capabilities. The detachables offer a little bit different design challenge. So putting, like they showed in the adaptive all-in-one here, putting all of the guts of the system under the glass is a little bit tougher. But when it detaches, it really, really looks like a tablet. And so it's got to be a great tablet and have full PC capability. Now, research shows us that, again, giving people devices to play with, we can change, if people like the two-in-one value proposition, going in, not understanding what these devices could do, we got a different set of results, but letting people play with the technology for, I think it was a 60-day study in this case, we saw that 75% of the people who had devices, and not everyone got a touch-enabled device, 75% of the people want touch. So the ultrabook convertible with touch or the ultrabook clamshell with touch. There were still 22% of the people who preferred to have a tablet. But look at the convertible number at 44%. This is a device that didn't exist in any significant volume when we first did this study. But we think, again, this is a great opportunity for the whole ecosystem. All right, now let's talk about Haswell. You don't want any pictures of the slide. Yep.
The convertible computers will solve the problem of keyboard in a tablet, because this is why, for example, for myself as a journalist, I cannot buy a tablet or use a tablet because of the problem of keyboard.
Yes.
It's very slow to type on the...
So yes, the convertible systems have the keyboard always attached. The detachable systems will come with a keyboard that you can detach the system from. But that keyboard is an integral part of these convertible products that I'm talking about. So yeah, that's what I mean. That's what we mean by full PC capability. Because PC isn't just about performance. It's about having the larger screens. It's about having the storage. It's about having the keyboard. You know, those capabilities that are somewhat unique to the PC. All right. So Haswell, just a disclaimer here. Not all of these items that are listed up here are going to be required in the ultrabook definition for the 4th generation core, but we expect to see these capabilities going across, multiple ultrabooks. So in the, I will tell you a little bit about what's required. And guys, as we get closer to our launch date, we're going to give you a lot more information about what exactly is going to be the promise of the 4th generation core-based ultrabooks. One thing that we can tell you is that if you're an end user buying a 4th gen core ultrabook with Windows 8, it will have touch. So touch is guaranteed. We think this is compelling in these devices. We know users love it. We're trying to move the market to touch. Makes sense with Windows 8, right? The other thing is that Intel wireless display will be on every Haswell-based ultrabook as well, or 4th generation core-based ultrabook, in case the brand police are listening to me. So you guys have seen wireless display before. Yeah, I'm going to do a quick demo in just a second, but there's a lot of potential here for even more immersive experiences using the wide-eye technology as the baseline.
You say that Intel wireless display is required. Does that mean that the technology is open for other wireless chip vendors, or is it required to use an Intel wireless chip?
No, it's not required to use an Intel wireless chip. There was an announcement made in either late December or early January that Broadcom has licensed the Intel wide-eye technology. So it'll be available on Broadcom products as well. All right, let's see what else you have here. In responsiveness, touch, voice, fresh data. Like you get on your tablet and smartphone now, we know that when you turn on those devices, you want to make sure that your email, your Twitter feeds, anything else that gets updated regularly is updated when it wakes. The wake time is going to be faster. You're going to get to that all-day battery life. This is our single biggest improvement in battery life gen over gen ever. So very important to this category. We're going to have a couple of new power envelopes, so you're going to see thinner and lighter designs. For protected, we already have anti-theft and identity protection in the definition. We're adding in the antivirus and anti-malware. You're going to see more uptake of the facial login, and of course vPro and SPA for the business platforms. And again, more convertible and detachable designs will be coming to market, as well as more high-resolution displays. Yes?
One more question. What is Intel's current definition of all-day battery life?
We're not going to get really specific on what the battery life promise is going to be on Ultrabook. But we're looking at the power and the battery life from two aspects. We want to understand what the standby power is. We're interested in the battery life when in an idle condition and then under a heavy workload as well. They're all three important, so we'll be looking at all of those. But all day is all day. Can't tell you more at this point. Sorry. Let me see if this will work for me. So you guys know the Intel. Jeez. Sorry, you guys weren't sitting here before, so. You guys know the Intel wireless display technology. We've had it out for a couple of years. I think that the potential, though, for using wide-eye as the foundational technology for a more immersive experience is really interesting. What I'm showing here is we have wide-eye on this monitor here. I have an application called QVOD out of China that has 6 different high-def video streams running. So what I can do is I can look at my GoPro videos that I took, or maybe my friends took, and we aggregated them all in this system, and just decide that I want to open one up, oops, and flick it to the screen. So just like that, choose a video, flick it to the screen. Now think of the potential if you're doing something like watching a sporting event. You can have different games showing on your screen, and when something interesting happens, what if you could just, with a flick of your finger, put that game up on your screen? Or movies. You can play a movie off of your ultrabook and have that up on the big screen, and have the smaller screen with other options to immerse yourself in the experience. Maybe you want to know more about the cast, the actors, the director. There are tons of opportunities here, and we're working with ecosystem partners to develop those and bring those to market this year. Yes, question?
Why is quality so poor? Is it wide-eye or is it the footage with the poor quality we see? The quality of the video was very poor. So why is it? Is it wide-eye quality or is it the footage was bad quality, or is it just...
No, it's not the wide-eye quality. You mean the fact that is it not smooth, or is it not high res?
It's not really smooth.
Oh, okay. Let me try a different one. I don't know why. It shouldn't do that, but...
From experience, it's difficult to get wire working well in a room of 50 Wi-Fi.
Yeah, that's the problem. Any of these wireless technologies, unfortunately, right? I mean, can you imagine the usage experience you would actually have, which would be in your home, right, without 17 people on email next to you, right? I mean, that's the issue, right? We definitely want to showcase these things. Again, we talk a little bit about, these usage experiences is something that people have today and they don't, right? And so this is a capability where people have invested in large TVs. They want to share what they've taken, somewhere else. But again, I think there's always a danger, and I know Karen's gone and taken the risk to put it up here, but with any of these wireless technologies, there's a risk that when you put it out in a room like this, the quality is a little bit worse than you'd expect because of the interference.
It worked fine before you guys all showed
Exactly. This morning, the quality was perfect.
Okay, my next bit of risk taking will be to show you our form factor reference design. And I know you guys, hopefully you guys didn't break it when you were playing with it earlier. So this is a 4th generation core based reference design that Intel has done. We wanted to take on the tough design challenge of putting a full PC platform behind the glass. This reference design also has some other innovations that the team put into it. And what we're trying to do with these is not bring them to market ourselves, but learn about systems manufacturing and some of the challenges that our customers face and inspire innovation in the market. So this industrial design has the guys have put a lot of thought into this. It's got the base has little back ports here, so it's stable. We also have a detach mechanism that's one-handed, if I can make it work. One of the things about convertibles and detachables is we don't think that they're very useful unless the convert mechanism is dead simple. And with most detachables today, it requires more than one hand. But with the press of a button here on the lid, I can simply lift the top off. Now, one of the things that should have happened, and I'm not looking, so I don't know if it did. Oh, it did. When I lifted this off, the system is intelligent enough to know that it's no longer attached to the base. And my screen size has been adjusted to give me soft bezel on the edges. So now that's in tablet mode, I don't want to be holding it on the edges and have my fingers inadvertently touch one of the buttons. However, if I want to get back into the maximum screen size mode, again, with just the flick of the button, here we go. Now I have a full viewing screen. Could you guys see that? So again, this is not a product that Intel will be bringing to market, but rather one that we're using to help inspire innovation in the industry. So that was my last slide. We have a summary slide, but I think we are now ready to go ahead and open it up for any additional Q&A. Guys,
Any questions, folks? Yes.
Robert Kernloff from Berlin. You've been showcasing a table where you can DJ and perform audio distortion, video, stuff like this. What kind of technology is fitted to the display to sense your input?
Honestly, I don't have all the details on there, but I asked the person who was showcasing it, and they said they had cameras on top, on the screen. I think that's integrated by an OEM, but those kinds of technologies are in line with some of these lay flat type of usages. But each OEM would have the ability to decide what they want to do in terms of adding more sensor capability. I think in that case, they've got a camera facing the screen, and they can detect the barcodes on that on those little cubes over there.
Santa Clara, from Japan. So I got the question to desktop side. So could you tell us your future strategy for more investment for desktop platform? So because right now notebook is so rapidly expanding, desktop is a little bit shrinking. So your socket compatibility and something is still continue to investment.
So I think the big highlight for us, right, is about 5 or 6 years ago, you'd say the desktop was maybe a little longer ago. It was very simple. It was standard form factors, right? ATX motherboards, micro ATX motherboards. Things are changing rapidly right now. That requires Intel to invest. So we're investing in creating multiple platforms and multiple power levels to enable our customers to do a range of things. To support the high-end gamer who wants maximum performance and they don't care about a very nice or small ID design, to a device like this that's going to require a much tighter thermal envelope. So from the Intel perspective, there's two things I want you guys to take away from this. Is we need to invest because the market is differentiating and requiring us to provide different solutions so that people can innovate, and we'll continue to do that.